it going. All right, everybody, this is the coaching call for week 3 of part 2 of the intensive. I'm really going to have to rebrand the intensive to something else for the summer program. We'll see how that goes. So this week we were talking about, oh my goodness, I just blanked. What were we talking about this week? Oh, networking, working your network and spreading the message about your goals. I know everybody is, again, scattered to the winds, and that happens in a program where there's only 5 people. Like if there were 100 people in this program, we'd have about 20 people on the call every week. So this is pretty normal. So Melinda, what do you have for us?
All right, so I started to do my homework. I think I can do a more thorough job of it, but I started listing out my goals. Some of my most immediate goal that's not work related and just super fun is my chicken coop.
Yes. We're going to be hugging chickens over the summer.
Yep. So I started there with, who has helped me with it so far and who else can help me with it and who would enjoy helping with the pieces of it and snuggling chickens, blah, blah, blah. And then I have another home fun goal of doing some landscaping, like seal coating my driveway and doing some, grass seed and stuff. One of my really good friends, Susie, is going to be getting married at my house in September. So I'm prepping the landscape for her. So I'm doing it for myself, but this is a really good excuse to get it done.
If you're an obliger, you're more like, this is perfect because all of this benefits you and your home as well. But the obliger in you is like, this needs to happen now. I can't push it off. I can't procrastinate because Susie's getting married in September, but ultimately you're getting the benefit. It's the perfect combination.
Yeah, it's been a good excuse to finally get certain things done. Last year with my divorce, I didn't get much done around my house at all. And the garden went well. I did a lot with my garden, but that's kind of my Zen time. So that's a given. I'm just not going to go without that. But I wasn't doing anything to my lawns or anything. And I had cardboard in my garden covering up weeds, and it was very ghetto looking. And so now, as of a couple weeks ago, I had my favorite tree guys come over and we cut trees down and we chipped brush, and that was huge. I mean, that was a weight lifted off my shoulders that had been there for 2 years. I'd been wanting to chip that brush. So that was a big one. So those are my fun goals. So that was kind of my practice of who can I reach out to for help? And I'm totally going to reach out to Susie and Kim for help with like weeding or planting flowers or something like that, because
they'd be happy to.
Yeah, just like you were talking about on Tuesday, it fits in perfectly. They're going to want to help me.
Yes.
Partly to help me and partly to have a hand in like where their wedding site is. So that felt good to kind of come up with names for that. And then I have some business goals, specifically with Arbonne. I'm still working diligently to earn the Jamaica trip. That period ends May 31st. So I've got another month. I've got a long ways to go. I still need to promote out 3 district managers on my team in order for that to happen. But since our global training conference in Las Vegas last weekend and the momentum and the energy with that, one of the things I was going to tell you before we jumped on this call was the reason I was driving on my way, at the beginning of this call was because after I went to the gym tonight, I drove up to Cumberland and signed on a new consultant on my team. Yeah, and she's somebody I've been in touch with since early March. She was at a presentation. She loved what she heard, and her life is crazy busy right now, and so we just couldn't make the timing work. But it only took 15 minutes when I was there.
Yeah.
I gave her the option, do you want to be a customer or do you want to be a consultant and make an income? And she's like, oh, I definitely want an income. She listened when I was talking about the business model, and she loves the idea of that. And so she's in. I don't, you never know what they'll end up doing with it, but I also had one of my consultants on my team, or a business partner, she signed on her first consultant a few days ago. So that's 2 team members in just a week. And I have another one who's interested probably next week or something. But it's like, this is it's momentum that's happening.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I've been declaring my goals out loud more often. I've been talking to people about wanting to earn a Jamaica trip. Mm-hmm. I've been talking to people about wanting to promote to the next level of management by August 1st, which means May, June, and July are going to be fast-paced months with a lot going on, but really exciting. And it's funny the energy it creates, because I was home this afternoon and all excited and just on fire with just excitement for my business and just feeling really happy about everything. And my boyfriend comes home and he was exhausted today, and he's like, "How was your day?" And I was like, "It was really great." And he almost left because he's like, "Whoa, I can't handle this."
I'm sure he loved it.
It's just funny, but so that was helpful. So, I declared my goal for promoting to the next level of management, and I have set up goal chats, basically. I have a one-to-one scheduled with the chiropractor in my BNI group. I texted her this afternoon and I said, "Hey, can we do a one-to-one soon? We pass each other a lot of referrals, but we don't do many one-to-ones." And I just told her I want to chat goals. So, and I want to hear what her goals are too, because I have no idea what her goals are.
Right.
So this is all, I did my homework.
Yay. I love that. I mean, you're doing the work. You're going through your goals and you're identifying who would want to be a part of it, who's in alignment with it, right? That's the starting place. And then also feel free to just talk to anybody and everybody about it. You don't have to know for sure that they're in alignment with it, because you just don't know. Like, sometimes until you share the goal, you don't know who's going to get excited about it with you, right? And here's the other thing too. This was just an insight I had yesterday, so I didn't share it on the call the other day, or I should say it's something I knew, but then it clicked. So people need to hear both pieces of what you're up to, right? They need to hear the goal. So for you, it's like, I want the Jamaica trip, I want to be promoted, that sort of thing. But people also want to hear the warm, fuzzy side of things too. Like, people love a bold, ambitious goal. That's really awesome. But when you tie into, and here's what this goal is going to mean for other people. Like, here's what I've helped some of my clients to do. Because I set these ambitious goals, I help more people. And I help them in this way, and I want to do more of that, because both of them are true. Like, this is the thing. You don't just want a Jamaica trip. I mean, you want a Jamaica trip, but you don't just want a Jamaica trip. You want to earn that Jamaica trip as people are like crushing their own goals, right? Achieving financial freedom, just some of the things that I know you've helped people with, it has been like dehydration at work, like not getting enough nutrition. You've been helping them with like crazy sunburns and skin conditions and headaches and, all sorts of stuff your clients have had the benefit of, because they've cleaned up their gut health. They're taking better care of their skin. They're actually like fueling their body instead of waiting for their body to crash before they refuel, because you've been teaching them on how important it is to like eat a good lunch, right? Your trades guys, you're like, I remember your verbiage, like, you got to eat something that's going to stick to your ribs. Right? You can't just have like a sandwich, because you'll burn through that. Your body just breaks down the carbs and the sugar so fast. And an hour later, you're starving again, especially when you have such a physical job. You were helping them to eat in a way that would sustain them for hours and also hydrate. So when they're outside working, they're not up on a ladder feeling like they're going to pass out.
Right. It's so true. I mean, with my favorite glass guy, he he did Arbonne's 30-day clean eating program with me in January. And he's somebody that I had been wanting to reach out to for a while, because you can, and you can tell by people's skin and their face and how they carry themselves that they just don't feel good.
Yeah.
And I wanted to reach out to him for a long time, and it turns out his son is in my my BNI group, and he's refinancing my mortgage this spring. And so he basically passed that referral to me. And his dad so it was just kind of random that I knew both of them.
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah, I even invited his dad to a BNI group one time and was like, as a joke, you should just come and not tell him, and then I'll get you as my visitor. And just I thought that would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. He wasn't down with that. That's too bad.
Yeah. But it's so cool because he has struggled with type 2 diabetes and weight for a long time. And in 1 week with this clean eating program, he lost weight. He got off of one of his 2 insulin medications.
Wow.
Just in a week. And then in 30 days, he was completely off of both of them.
Okay.
So that was huge. And I met with him because he was going to do a glass job. Like, I was subbing him out for a project I'm working on. And I said, it's kind of funny that that I'm meeting with you right now, because I'm going to see your son down the road to give him some more Arbonne samples in a few minutes. And so it's just funny to keep it in the family. But
yeah.
He's like, I can't thank you enough for sharing this with me, because I feel completely different. He's started dating again. It's just amazing, the shifts. Hi, Amy.
I know, I was trying to be all like covert, like, hi.
Yeah.
Not Melinda. She's like, hello.
I know. That's how I roll. But
yeah.
But that's the warm and fuzzy part for me, is being able to help people like that much with their health. And it just feels so good to empower people who, he's in his, I don't know if he's late 50s or early 60s, but my parents are probably 10 years older than him. And I know they had the mindset for a long time that they're not going to change the way they eat. And they have, as a byproduct of hanging around me. But it's just cool that he's changed so much, and he's grateful, and he feels good, and he's maintaining it. This is now his 4th month, and he's he's not doing it perfectly, but nobody does, and you don't need to. So that's really exciting for me. So I immediately texted his son when his dad texted me yesterday and told me about his recent blood work. He had points dropping by 2 points, and things were looking really, really good now with blood pressure and cholesterol and everything. And I think his A1C, he had all kinds of good results. So it's just exciting. Amazing. Yeah. So I told his son, I was like, did you hear your dad's great results? I'm so happy for him.
That's awesome. Amy, just to catch you up, we were talking about, so this week was all about, okay, now that we've set our goals, who can help us? Like, who should we be sharing our goals with? Like, building up momentum, getting people excited. Who can help us? Who would want to help us? Where would it be a win-win? So Melinda was like breaking down her goals and who she's identified and that sort of thing. And she talked about how she's been sharing her goals more. And just what we were talking about just now was, and I didn't say this on the call on Tuesday, so I wanted to make sure I said it here. Like, not only share the goal itself, like the logical, tangible, technical goal, but also share the why behind it. Because people need both pieces. They need the logical and the emotional piece. So for instance, Melinda's goal is to promote within her business, and also she's trying to win a trip to Jamaica. And people can get behind that. But then we talked about sharing the stories of the work that she does and how it helps people. And this is why she's doing what she's doing. She's doing it both for money and Jamaica, and if she wasn't doing work that was helping people get healthier, she wouldn't be that jazzed about the finances in Jamaica, that much. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to Jamaica? But the fact that it's like, it's also helping people is amazing, and same for you, just like you're looking for more ease in your business to try to like scale things in a way where you're not doing more work, but you're earning more money. Like that's a goal. And you can share that like, hey, I'm trying to grow my business strategically, not so that I'm working more hours, but that so I'm doing specific work where I can earn more money. But I'm focusing on the things where I can make the greatest difference. And here's what it does for businesses when I do this type of work for them. Having both pieces, I think gets people really, it's like, it's all sales, which sounds so cheesy. And like, there's a part of me that's like, oh, don't use the S word, that sort of thing. But it is all sales. And we have to address the logical brain and the emotional heart to do sales, right? Both pieces are important. So we don't want to leave any of them out, and you'll notice when you share your stories and you share the heartwarming, work that you do and the difference you make in people's lives. And you're also like sharing like your ambitious goals. Like I'm trying to hit this milestone and that sort of thing. Like people get excited about both, but marrying them together, like people are just like, I want to help you,
Totally.
Yes. Totally. Awesome. Anything else you wanted to share, Melinda, or get coaching around?
I don't think so. I think that's all I really had, was that I've started reaching out to people and kind of setting up appointments and sharing my goal. And it's funny how just sharing my goal with my business partner today, it's funny that a few hours later I was helping another team member start their own business. So it's neat how quickly things can happen when you allow the space and you don't question, you just keep rolling with it and keep sharing about your goal. So
keep declaring it. Like that's the thing. That's why I tell people, share your goal with everyone who will listen, anybody and everybody, because you're declaring it over and over and over and putting it out there and speaking it into the world. It's a powerful exercise. For sure. Awesome. How are you doing, Amy?
I'm doing really good. I had some really big, breakthroughs or thoughts today that I wanted to share.
Yay!
So I met somebody for coffee today who's an executive director of a nonprofit here in town, and his organization is kind of at a crossroads. They are in a building and in a space that's being sold, and so they're trying to figure out where they're going, and they have all these new ideas and all these new plans and how they want to represent themselves kind of to the community. And it's kind of a big it's a crossroads. It's like, where do we go from here? How do we have these conversations? Who are we? Where do we want to go? How do we want to get there? All those things that and I'm working with this other organization too, where we're looking at them, and they are, they're smaller organizations. They had 2 vice presidents and one of them left, and they're like, we don't actually need 2 vice presidents. How can we reorganize how we're working to be more effective at what we're doing? And so I'm looking at their roles, and we're rebalancing them and trying to like redistribute them. And so I have a whole project with them as far as like looking at how we can look at what exists and what their goals are for the next 10 years, and where are we now? Where do we want to go? How do we get there? And while I was with the person that I met with today, we sat there and he was telling me all about his ideas and where he was going. And as we were getting up, and he's like, it's so nice to talk to you. Like, I don't like when nobody, like, I don't get to talk about like this kind of stuff in this kind of way with too many people. He's like, nobody cares. And it just like, it struck a chord with me. And so like, as I'm walking home, like I started having all these ideas, and I think I came up with kind of an idea of who I want to be and what I want to do.
Yay! So I love this talk.
So I wanted to make sure I got on the call tonight, even though it's late. But so, and then I wrote it up. I have stickies.
Yay!
Diagrams. You probably can't see it, but So basically, I think what I want to do is I want to work with organizations as they're encountering change, whatever that change looks like, whether it's a change of leadership, whether it's a change of space, whether it's a change of, a lot of organizations have to go through processes of change. And, this jives with like ideas I've had like 5 years ago about like, because I heard there's this thing where like, when an executive director leaves, sometimes they bring in an interim, and I'm like, oh, wouldn't that be cool? But then I'm like, I don't want to work like 60 hours a week, like for, that's not me. But like, I would love to help process and help people through change. So helping people through change, working with some of the services that I've defined so far, like strategic planning, who are we, where are we going, facilitated conversations, figuring that out, creating a plan, having difficult conversations, making decisions, and planning on how to get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
But part of that is also, and this kind of stems off something that you sent earlier this week, like I want to then institute like one-on-one, like a 10-session, like coaching session with their executive director or with their leadership so that they can be like kind of, because I'll tell you what, a lot of the clients that I work with are either nonprofits or they're city people within a city that like, none of these people have the resources, the time, or the energy to like really go out there and get the support that they need.
Right.
Everybody's kind of swimming on their own.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's something that like I offer as a package. Like I do this, I help you work through this change. We set up like periodic intervals where I meet with, your groups, or I facilitate discussions, or I meet with like, your leadership in different areas, like whoever's assigned certain tasks, but then one-on-one coaching conversations for a year. And then I come up with like a maintenance pack. Like I have all this, like it just kind of exploded. And I'm like, this all like aligns with so many things that I've talked about in the past and how I want to like think about working with organizations. And I just noticed like I've had a couple different project proposals come my way. And these are the ones I get the most excited about.
Yes. Yes.
And so
whenever
I'm like,
you talk about facilitation, you get really excited too.
Yeah. Like I just feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, like because for the longest time I'm like, I could never think beyond me, like my hourly rate. Like I walk into a project and it's just like, but this is like creating packages. Like there are ways that I could step away and like get people to help me, like, because it's like it's a service as opposed to just figuring it out. Like every project's a new project.
Yeah. And you can bundle it together too.
Yeah.
So it is not like time for dollars. It's like, yes, I'm going to deliver on this work and we will have these meetings. They will last this long. I mean, the only piece of it that like kind of smacks of that is the coaching, because they're going to get, like, say they're going to get 10, 45, 50-minute sessions, then it's a certain amount of time, but you don't have to break out, this is what the coaching costs. You can say the coaching is a part of this package or it's not.
Right.
Exactly. If somebody's like, well, how much do you charge per hour for coaching? You say, I don't. I sell it as a part of a package, or I don't just do coaching.
It's not something that I would want to, like, at least at the moment, do like on its own. It's something that I would, because if you're working with an organization to help them process change, like there's going to be things that come up in month 2 and month 3 and month 4 and month 5.
Struggles that the leaders have that not everyone else is having.
Right.
Right. And you want to be able to support them through that because they have to stay strong when everybody else is getting confused and scared.
Right.
Right. So you can talk about that. Like I offer this coaching for you as the executive director or whatever role they're in, or, if it's maybe a group of people who are at the top, because I know this is going to be, as much as like other people are going to vocalize the stress more than you're going to vocalize it, you're going to feel it more.
You're going to, right. And you have to be the one steering the ship. So it's like coaching the people below you, but also like thinking about how the organization is going to go and how it's going to like, and making sure that all those things that we planned 6 months ago is actually happening. Like,
That's amazing. Something else I had a thought of. I'm just going to plant this seed. You don't have to do anything with it, but maybe like put it on a sticky and put it to the side too. The other thing is I'm thinking is the executive director in a lot of these organizations, I bet is a very isolating situation because they might have a staff that reports up to them, and they as the executive director have to report into a board of directors. But who do they talk to who understand exactly what they're going through? You could also facilitate mastermind groups that might have 4 or 5 executive directors, anywhere up to 8, you know, depending on, I mean, you've gotten trained in facilitation, you would know best what size the group, you know, the small, like what the scale would be on the small end and the larger end, that would get the best results. But you could also have as a part of a premium package, like, and also I offer a mastermind group that maybe meets once a month or once a quarter, and you're going to be in the room with only executive directors, and we all sign confidentiality agreements and that sort of thing. And, you know, so that you get support and understanding from your peers. And I'm going to facilitate the conversations to make sure that like we're having the discussions we need to have. And you could theme, like there's so many different ways you can do mastermind groups. They can be completely open-ended, like whatever, everyone just show up with your problems and we'll talk about, you know, whatever challenge you're facing right now. Or you can theme it out to, you know, like fundraising, you know, aspects of strategic planning, how to support your team, you know, how to, you know, who are your, what's the word for it? Like the different components of a project, like who are your stakeholders, like that sort of thing, how to serve, you know, the board and the team and the people you're serving and the donors and the, like how to balance all of that. You know, there's so much you could do with that.
So much is out there. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And I don't hear too many people addressing all of these things, not like specifically to the executive director. I mean, they're, you know, one-offs, but I don't hear too much in the nonprofit world of like, there's an organization that helps, you know, train and facilitate all of these things. Like, I see it as a missing. And the fact that you had a conversation with an executive director who was like, I don't have anybody to talk to about this. This is really nice. Like, ding, 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 ding.
I was like, oh, yeah. So I'm super excited about it. Like my wheels are just turning. And I don't, Yeah.
I love it. So let it percolate. Like knowing you probably need to write about it, journal about it, map it out, like get a flip chart and, you know, draw things on it,
draw pictures.
See what comes of it, but also knowing you and the general direction you want to go in, what makes sense? Like, how can you leverage your time to make more money, right? So that this doesn't turn into something that, you know, blows up into something bigger than you want it to be at first. You know, like what services, how, like, you know, if you have 3 different organizations that you're giving 10 sessions of coaching away over the course of the year, you know, how much time is that going to take each month? You know, if you do a mastermind group, how much time would that take? You know, the packages, you know, that sort of thing. So you want to keep in mind, you know, the time for dollars thing to make sure that you're not getting in a trap of you're doing, I mean, it sounds like you're getting to a place where like, yeah, you could bring in a lot of money, but you're going to accidentally double your hours. Because we do that sometimes.
Right. And I feel, and maybe you can help me with like, I kind of feel like it's like sometimes you have to put in more hours before you can put in less. Yes. I feel like it always works like that.
Yes, but maybe you can plan it for a time where it makes sense for you and your family and the lifestyle you want to live. Like which month would that be?
Right.
You know, so you can even like start doing coffee dates and drumming up interest. And you say, I'm kicking this off in October.
Right.
You know, after the kids have settled into school and activities and that sort of thing.
Have a start date. That's an interesting concept.
I know. Like the day I realized I controlled my calendar, I was like, what? Yes. What? I got myself into this situation and I can get myself out? What? I can say no. I can set boundaries. Right? Yeah. Mind blown.
It is, right. Because I was just assuming I'd wait until people had it a crossroads.
Yeah. Like once you identified it, you would immediately have to take them on as a client. And you don't always, like, because sometimes these crossroads, they build for a little while.
Right. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So the little voices, you know, the you can't voices in my head are like, well, you've never run like a nonprofit. Like, who are you to like give
Stop
advice?
it.
Right? But like I have to answer them, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
like how do I answer that voice?
Right. Well, one thing that came to my head as you said that out loud is like, you've already rejected the idea of running a nonprofit. That's not even what you want to do. You want to facilitate them through a process where they're running their nonprofit, but you help them do it well.
Thank you. I'm glad this is recorded. I'm going to write that down.
Amy, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Who are you to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented?
I missed the quote today.
God damn it, who are you not to be, right?
Exactly.
I'll share this story because like it was so funny because as I gave this answer, I was like, that's a really good answer and it's true, right? Because you know how every now and again somebody puts you on the spot and you're just like in this moment it was like a moment of clarity, right? I kind of knew this, but I was able to articulate it. So I was at a wedding. I was at a table where I didn't know anybody else at the table I was sitting with. So we were going around introducing ourselves. What do you do? Where are you coming from? Blah, 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 blah. And I talked about how I was a coach. And one woman looked at me and she goes, I don't mean any offense, but I'm looking at you and how young you are. And I'm wondering, do you have enough life experience to be able to tell me how I should be living my life? You know, and guiding me through those types of decisions. And I said, I'm not an expert in every situation that a human being will go through in their life. I'm an expert at the process that helps them uncover the solutions to whatever event they're going through in their life. I don't have the solutions, they're in you, but I know the process to get the solutions out of you. And she was like, okay. Right? We don't have to be the expert on everything. Right. We just need to stay in our zone of genius and let that unfold. Right? Because your zone of genius is you get people to talk about what's important. Right? To say the truth.
Can I quote you on that?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And to say it out loud and to put it out on the table and to talk about it. And then take that information and create a plan that can be put into action, right? That's your zone of genius. You've already said, you said earlier, be an interim director. Like you made a face. Go back and like watch the face you made when you said that. Like you were just like, it's not even what you want to do. Why would you have to be the expert at that? You have no interest in doing it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
You can't help very many organizations if you're so deep in one.
Right. You can't. You lose focus on everything else. I mean, there's stuff to be learned and stuff to be gained for deep diving within an organization, but that's not what you even want to be doing. You want to be helping a lot of organizations to be able to move forward and to grow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not just one. I mean, you could do it, but it wouldn't be as fun for you.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people, some people are like, I want to be there from the beginning to the end. I want to be a part of the entire process. And then I know Anna has said this on a call before too. She's like, I want you to come to me with your problems. I will give you the solutions. And then I move on, right? Next. I would get bored if I was talking to the same people over and over and over again all the time. Same problems, same issues, that sort of thing. She's like, I like variety. That does it for me, you know? Yeah. And it's good to know like that, you know, that's how you're wired. That's, you know, that's what fuels you. is variety, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually it's a strength, because you can disengage, right? While you're working with somebody, you can be like, I'm all in, I'm your partner, and now we're done and I'm moving on.
Great. Great.
Awesome. That's an amazing insight. So like you're gonna let that all simmer for a while, get it out on paper, do an art project.
I like that.
Yes. Yeah. Something creative, anything, like for some people it's journaling. For some people it's talking to somebody out loud to articulate it. For others, it's doing like some sort of crafting or creating something. It could be a poem, a piece of music, a recipe, anything like whatever helps you assimilate information and gets the creative juices flowing, do it. Like for me, it's conversation. I'm not much of a creative artist, but I'm a great problem solver. So
you're a verbalist.
Yes, verbalist. I like that. I haven't. It's a word now. I'm a verbalist.
Yeah.
What kind of art do you do? Verbal art?
I think you just coined a new term.
Yep.
I love it. All right. Anything else? What do you guys got?
I'm happy.
Yeah. You don't have to force it if you're good for now. Okay. You know where to find me. Next week is our last week, but we're still in the Facebook community. I'm going to do another round of part 1 of the intensive over the summer. So if you want to review, like I said, like when you guys joined, it's lifetime. You can jump in, jump out. You're always in the community, but you can redo the program for free at any time.
Oh, wow.
Did I not make that absolutely clear?
No, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that
it's
is
a
amazing.
lifetime membership.
Oh.
Yeah.
You over-deliver.
Yeah, for you. Yeah, for you guys, it definitely will. That may change in the future where I say to people, but that's kind of where things are going, because a lot of people these days, this might be something to think about in your own businesses. Although your models are a little bit different, a lot of and the feeling like you sign up for a program, but then you don't get to like take full advantage of it. So then you didn't feel like you got the full value. So a lot of programs are going in that direction where it's a lifetime sort of thing, but you're constantly adding people to the program, and people who can like get a lot of value out of a program that's a lifetime program, they're going to share it with other people. Like, you're crazy not to join this because it's lifetime. You get to do it for free whenever it's done. So that's kind of the model I went with for now. And you guys are, if that changes, you guys are absolutely grandfathered in. But yeah, I would love to see your faces again. So yes. So next week is like going to be all about like, let's sustain momentum. Let's keep going. Let's keep the plans in actions. How do we keep doing this? So that'll be coming next week. All right. Well, you guys know where to find me in the meantime. So have an amazing evening, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
Bye, Melinda.